Once upon a time, in a time far, far away, there lived a man named Andrew Jackson. Now, Andrew Jackson was a jerk, but he was the kind of jerk you get used to after a while. There were some good things and some bad things about him. Like, he was the 7th president of the United States. He had a fetish for cheese. He liked to kick around Native Americans. But he did know how to throw a great party. In 1824, he ran against John Quincy Adams for the presidency, but lost because of the Electoral College. And he was like, that was extremely unfair. I'm just gonna go up to officials and like tell them to cancel the Electoral College. So he decided to lobby, right? And he went up to these officials and was like, hey, I have an idea. We should cancel this Electoral College and make the voice of the people count, because I could have won, right? And the officers just shut him down completely, and so he failed at lobbying. And but he just, went on his merry way. But he hated losing, that was for a fact. And after John finished his 4 years, John Quincy Adams, Jackson ran back to obtain the title that he thought he was born for, becoming the 7th president. And he was like the first president who left the U.S. with zero debt. During the years of 1838 and 1839, he did the worst thing that stained his name throughout history. He sent Native Americans away from their territory on a trail of tears. The irony of that was that he later adopted 2 Native American boys. So Jackson was here thinking, hey, I feel guilty. I'm just going to try to make the lives of some little kid amazing, even if they are Native Americans. So he just like, maybe I should adopt 1 Native American boy. But he was like, no, that's too little. So he was like, maybe 3. No, that's too much. So he just decided to go with 2. So he just adopted 2 Native American boys. Andrew Jackson was also known as the Old Hickory because he never missed a shot, apparently, when he had duels. And he dueled Charles Dickens because he insulted his wife. Now, at the time, it was kind of customary for them to pick on the issue of his wife because Andrew Jackson married a woman who wasn't really divorced and had 11 children. So he got really, really salty when these gentlemen picked on it. And as a loyal husband, he fought and dueled these men. So he was like, you want to talk about my wife? Well, bring it, son. So like they started dueling, right? So during the duel, Charles White was like sweating. He was like, why did I do this? I should have just apologized, but it was too late. However, Andrew was like dancing in the corner too. Yeah, that song. And in hopes of saving his own life, Charles turned around before time and basically shot Andrew on the arm. And then Andrew, in that moment, Andrew was turned around and he was like, that little sucker. And in that moment, Charles knew he had completely messed up big time. And that's how Dickens died. So now Dickens is now dead, and Andrew is victorious once again, just like all of those 50 times he's won. And now we picture him in the middle of the field going, it gets kind of boring after all this winning. There's no action anymore. And he just looks down. That's all he says. It's kind of depressing. So, in 1835, Richard Lawrence said, I've had enough of this guy. So he decided to go out and assassinate him. Now, Jackson had a lot of enemies on the Whig Party. So the Whig Party decided, hey, we should send an assassin, right? Who better of a man than Richard Lawrence? He had nothing against Andrew Jackson in general. He was just a painter who needed money for his family, right? So he was like, hey, maybe this is easy. I'll just take 2 guns just in case I don't have enough luck. Well, as luck would have it, he didn't have any luck, and he missed his shots. He missed from both pistols. I mean, that's pretty unlucky when it comes to shooting Jackson. So the pistols were like shooting, right? All of those gunshots missed Jackson, and as the bullet whistled past him, he turned his head ever so slowly. Lawrence then was face to face with his death. Jackson threw himself over to Richard and began to beat him with the stick until 2 bodyguards ran to save Jackson, right? But in reality, we're actually trying to save Richard's poor life. I mean, Jackson was going at him with the cane. He was like, bang, bang, bang. He was like, no, not 2 canes, just 1. And he was just bang, 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 right? And like, he was just bleeding for his life. After this, people who didn't like Andrew decided to sit down and let him be rather than try to stop him. No, do not go after him, man. No. So, in 1839, after getting out of the presidency, he faced the biggest problem of them all. Getting rid of 1,400-pound wheel of cheese. I mean, this cheese was enormous. And he had received this cheese as a gift from a farmer in Pennsylvania, a little town. And they basically were like, hey, this cheese is ginormous. You know who would love it? Jackson. We love Jackson. Jackson loves cheese. He'll love us forever. So, he, as any other normal person would, he had the same reaction any normal person would. He was like, what the heck am I going to do with 1,400 pounds of cheese? So, the first thing he did was cut out ginormous chunks of this so-called Titanic cheddar and gave a piece to his friends. But after he gave a ginormous piece to his friends, he still had a lot left over. So, as his presidency was finalizing, he decided to have a party of 10,000 visitors where he basically had them come over and eat cheese. Yeah, just cheese. And, I mean, if you can't picture 1,400-pound wheel of cheese sitting in the middle of the White House, I mean, it's ginormous. And 10,000 visitors ate this whole pound of cheese, this whole 1,400 wheel in just under 2 hours. Just 2 hours, and it was gone. But the cheese was never really gone. Its smell penetrated the walls and the carpets of the White House. And Andrew Jackson's successor, Martin Van Buren, did not know what to do. He aired the carpets for days on end, trying to get the stench out. He scrubbed the walls. He scrubbed so hard. He had to paint, repaint, put the top layer on top so many times until he got rid of the smell. Everybody described the smell as an evil smelling horror. And it all came down to the part where our favorite character, President Jackson, died of tuberculosis and heart failure. And in his wonderful funeral, his pet parrot just freaked out in the middle of the whole funeral and basically started cussing out at all the present people. And it was just like, and just like basically had to be escorted out of the funeral because it was just so much racket.